The death of John Travolta's son on January the 2nd was shrouded in controversy amid claims that he suffered from a condition that he had never in fact been treated properly for. But did 16-year-old Jet Travolta die unnecessarily because of some thinking on behalf maybe of his parents and indeed their beliefs in relation to the Church of Scientology? My next guest knows that church's inner workings better than most people. He was recruited into its fanatical, militant inner core, the C organisation. He worked in its rehabilitation project force, which he likens to a Khmer Rouge re-education camp. Then, after 20 years' service as a model staff member, he started to question the organisation. With considerable difficulty, he finally escaped in 2006. After evading their internal security police force, yes, apparently they do have one, he made it back to his hometown in County Cork. The Church of Scientology have tried to ban his new book. It's called The Complex. An insider exposes the covert world of the Church of Scientology. Author John Duignan joins us now from our Cork studio. John, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Gerry. How are you?
Good morning and welcome back, in fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the Church of Scientology, a very wealthy, extensive and influential organisation, counting amongst its members many famous and indeed influential people, including John Travolta and indeed Tom Cruise, and many others. They are renowned for their quick response to anything that is either taking away or detracting from their message, or questioning the message, or their practices or beliefs. And in fact, they are very active in terms of litigation. They will have you taken off the shelves before you can say Valkyrie. Now, you have written this book, and I would imagine the moment they heard about this, the radar got switched on very swiftly. And in fact, they have managed to pull the book from Amazon.uk, haven't they? Yeah,
well, I mean, from the UK altogether, it's you cannot get the book in the United Kingdom. It's impossible. They, using the UK libel laws, they moved very quickly to stop the book. And they have successfully stopped the book.
So they actually got an injunction to prevent, or did they just warn off the distributors?
No, they used that. They probably did that as well. They seem to be very good at warning distributors. But there is a friend of mine who I mention in the book, and I actually don't mention him in any negative way. Just a very kind of fairly realistic, honest, discussion about him.
Yeah.
And then next thing we know, this is just literally, I suppose, 7 days, 10 days maybe after the book was released in Ireland, we get a letter from Carter Ruck, the big, the major UK libel firm, from presumably representing this fellow.
And were they bringing action, or were they warning you off in terms of privacy laws or in terms of libel?
Libel.
Okay.
That what he considered libel, because, well, this is what they said, that he considered that his character was disparaged in regards to his fellow Scientologists, right? Now, my own assessment of that is there's no way this guy could possibly afford to use Carter Ruck. There's something else going on there altogether. Carter Ruck are a very, very, very expensive firm indeed, from the research I've done in it.
So you believe that the Church of Scientology was probably funding the action?
That's typical. I mean, it's very,
so
very
you would
typical.
trace this back as yet another attempt to stop any negative comment about the organisation?
Well, yeah, and then within...
Or even debate?
Well, even debate, and they certainly do not want debate, because they don't stand up to debate at all. I mean, within a few days of that, then the next thing, again, I drew the connection because no one else was at the time, but Tom Cruise turned up at the Amazon headquarters in Seattle to give a previewing of Valkyrie, and then Amazon International pulled the book. Was not available anymore after that on Amazon International. However, that was since dealt with, and now Amazon International are making the book available, but not Amazon UK and not any.
But it is available to purchase legally here in this country.
Exactly,
And there are no legal issues in relation to you talking about it. So anybody who's listening in the RTE legal department, you can take a chill pill. It seems to be.
No,
okay.
Ireland's great. The fact that I wrote the book with a very competent journalist, and a journalist that Scientology is quite afraid of, Nicola Tallant, who's a very switched on lady, and they wouldn't try anything.
Nicola would be well known to newspaper readers in this country.
She'd be well known, yeah exactly.
Now, let's just, for the innocent, and there may be a few of them listening still, can you just remind us of what the Church of Scientology is? When we say a church, of course, to a lot of Irish people who may not go into the detail, they may think it's an offshoot of a Christian church. It's in fact, nothing could be further from the truth.
It's not a church at all. It's a business, what it sells is its very own brand of psychotherapy, which is a bit of a mishmash of kind of, I suppose, behaviorist and Pavlovian techniques and a few other bits and bobs thrown in. And then a lot of very, very strange sort of mind techniques, if you like, to, well, mess with people's mind, really, and get them to part with huge sums of money and get them to slavishly follow this, well, the directives of this organisation.
And just very quickly, if you'll excuse me for a moment, its founder, he was a former science fiction writer, nothing against that. I mean, Arthur C. Clarke was also a bit of a genius and a science fiction writer. L. Ron Hubbard. Scientology is based on the belief that humans are spiritual beings, are thetans who have lived for trillions of years. They're constantly reincarnating. And through the use of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard explained that if you became a Scientologist, you would achieve supernatural powers. And in fact, they have an unlicensed and unmonitored psychotherapeutic system operating under the guise of a religious practice.
Correct.
So that's how it works. And it does, a lot of people end up feeling much better, but of course there's always a downside to feeling much better so quickly and so efficiently. Now, so that's what they do, and they also are incredibly wealthy because they attract, first of all, very wealthy people to the organisation, but not only that, they also manage to persuade people very efficiently and very effectively on an ongoing basis to part with large amounts of money, whether they're wealthy or not. Let's go to John Travolta. And, you know, Travolta is an extraordinary guy. I have great admiration for him. He's a very fine man, a lovely fella who has fought against adversity in his chosen career, that of acting. He has been incredibly successful and came back from the dead, literally. And maybe Scientology had a part to play in that, who knows. But his son, it is believed, may have suffered as a result of these beliefs.
Absolutely.
Explain to me.
Okay, first of all, my heart goes out to John and Kelly. You know, that's a heart, that losing a child is, you know, devastating, and I don't want to make light of that at all. What I do want to emphasize the fact that Scientology's bête noire, its enemy, is psychiatry. And the reason is pretty obvious, because it's in direct competition to Scientology's core business, you know, which is its own psychotherapy. Jet Travolta, this again, I don't know the boy, I never knew the boy, but according to John Travolta's brother, who works with autistic children and lobbies for, you know, for more assistance and intervention for autistic children, said that boy is autistic. And the YouTube clips I watched, there was a couple of clips of him I saw, you know, he was certainly neurologically damaged in some way or other. Scientology does not, it refuses any intervention from the psychiatric profession. It considers it to be evil and dangerous, and anybody who does get involved in using psychiatry cannot do Scientology anymore. He's not allowed to do any of the Scientology levels anymore.
So John and Kelly, by virtue of their involvement with the organisation, would have been precluded from seeking any sort of conventional psychotherapy or conventional psychiatric help for their son, or even learning programs or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine, a guy called Mick, who now lives in Colorado now, and his child is deaf-blind and also had some aspects of what seemed like similar symptoms, and for a time was suffering from seizures, which is what Jet Travolta was suffering from. And then with the proper medication, he was able to get rid of those and, well, live as normal as he can, but in a very loving, nurturing environment. And he was furious and disgusted and dismayed at what, because he knows, because Mick was in Scientology for 20 years as well, him and his wife Nancy, and he was disgusted at what was happening there, because what Scientology will do, they take people off. If say someone has been put on psychiatric medication, they'll take them off and they'll put them on some kind of a vitamin regime. It's one thing that they're selling now in their psychiatric front group, their anti-psychiatric front group called CCHR, Citizens Commission on Human Rights.